Alright, hey guys, it's Extreme Reload here, and today I've got a little something different than I normally do. Now, today's video will be a map overview for the map Jungle. Now, a while back I got a really nice game on Jungle, and I decided I would upload it and do a map overview of it. Now, I won't do this for every nice game that I get, but this one I decided would be a good one for it. So here I will just get my stuff set up and we will start the map overview. So here is where A is, B is, C is, because I normally play Domination, and if you've never played Domination, don't know the spawns for it, go play some Domination and figure them out. But for today, I have to, oh wait, okay, sorry, I thought I heard something, but I have to go pretty quick because, wait, the hell? Okay, sorry, I keep thinking I'm hearing something, but I'm not. Anyways, here are the A side spawn points. This spawn is probably my favorite, but we'll keep going because I've got limited time and the gameplay is about 8 minutes long, so I can only sit here talking for about, 6-7 minutes. But anyways, the C spawns are just out behind the camo base back here, and we will keep moving on, I think. Now, let's see. First, we'll talk about A-side spawns when you have the A flag and the other team has the C flag. Now, most of the time, you will spawn right back in this little area out behind the temple. Now, for this bit, now this is probably the most common spawn point if you are on A side, and the second most common spawn point if you're on A side is housing shack, little house, town area, whatever you want to call it. But those are basically the two main spawn points for this side. Now quickly here I will talk about spawn traps for this side, and for the temple side A spawn point, the spawn trap, you basically want to stay out of that little area. Now, I'm not saying if one or two people move up into the area throughout there, they'll still spawn back here, but they will eventually they'll spawn out behind C. Now, continuing on, we will go talk about C-side, and the C-side spawns, you will spawn back here with the original spawn point, and the secondary spawn is out here in the field. This is also another very common spawn when you have C. I find you mainly spawn out here instead of behind the camo base if people press up too far. Now, here we will talk about spawn trap for C side, and basically you want to stay out of this little radius, semicircle thing, whatever, to develop a successful spawn trap. Now, eventually they will move out to A side, and you'll have to capture C and flip the spawns. But if you've got a good team and you're all organized, you can pretty well hold them in C or A for most of the game. Now, I think that's just about it, but I first recorded this with a different little map, but I kind of messed up a bit, and it was a little too long, so I will call the things in the actual gameplay just a little different. But this will be far left side, this is Middle Creek Bridge B area, and this is far right town area, just a little heads up. But here we will move over to the gameplay session, so I'll see you guys there. Okay, so here at the beginning of the gameplay, I just try to find me throughout the guys, because somehow it put me on a different person even though I was signed into my profile. Now for this game I believe I'm playing with 4 friends. Didn't quite see there, but here in the beginning of the game I ran up left side and that kind of thing. Before I get into the actual game portion, I'll talk a bit about my setup for the game. So my gun that I'm using is the Galil with red dot sight. Now I find the Galil The Galil is quite a common gun, but the red dot sight attachment on this gun is very underused and is sort of I can't quite remember the word, but it's sort of it's not given enough credit. I actually quite like it. I find it reduces a little bit of recoil, and you can see people a lot better with the red dot sight as most of the guns in the game. But moving on, I believe my secondary is either Makarov M1911 or a Python speed reloader. My equipment, I've got a motion sensor. I don't think I ever really put the motion sensor down. Then I've got frag and concussion grenades, pretty well standard for me. And then hardline, sleight of hand, and marathon, I'm guessing. Don't think here I had marathon pro. I believe this is my 13th prestige, so didn't feel like getting too many pro perks before 15th, which I am now. So the other thing I'd like to talk about in this game is choke points. So in the game, or in the map jungle, there are 3 choke points throughout the map. There is we'll look at it from the A side spawn where I spawned at the beginning of the game. There is far left choke point, the middle B choke point, and the right town choke point. You can call the left side choke point like the hut choke point, I don't know what you want to call it, the bridge choke, whatever you want to call it. But for me, I normally call it far left. But the 3 choke points you can basically cut off for the match, and if you have a decent team, you will pretty well dominate the whole game. So we'll talk about what I think about the choke points, and we'll see what it's like. So the far left choke point, the little house choke point, the bridge, whatever you want to call it, you guys can decide what you want to call it. But for that side of the map, I find it quite a good choke point in my opinion because of the little bridge going to C side. Oh, just before I get into that, if you want to use that choke point, you want to have the A spawn on your side. So you want to be spawning at A and they have the C flag. So for the far left choke point, I normally like to sit behind the barrels back there and pretty well just pick the guys off that are spawning out behind C. Now you could call that kind of campy, with little quotation marks, but I really don't think so. There's a difference between spawn trapping and camping with like ghost hacker or whatever you want to camp with. But for that side, I actually find it quite a good choke point, but you don't want to stay there too long because they will figure it out that you're there and they'll just start lobbing grenades over. Now, unless you have Flakjack or Pro, you will probably die pretty easily. Now, the second choke point we'll talk about is the middle or B choke point. This choke point I basically will only use for the beginning of the match. The reason behind this is because it's such a high traffic area from people trying to get B and people like running through constantly, and there's a bunch of higher points for them to shoot down on you. There's basically people could come at you from 360 degrees. So in my opinion, it's not all that efficient, useful, whatever you want to call it, but that's for you to decide. I've seen other commentators use the middle point as a very good choke point. I have used it in times before, but it's not my favorite. Now I will we'll talk about the the town choke point. That's right. That one I really like as well. I was just at it, and as most of you know, there are a few things that you can sit behind, and they'll always spawn out here behind A constantly for you to just pick them off. There's really not much to it. If you learn spawns in this game, you can basically dominate the game and drop really high kills, kind of like what I did in this game. But here we'll talk a little bit more about the gameplay. So you can see me here going to the far left choke point, and those are the barrels that I was talking about. So for the game I have hardline on, so it's probably not the smartest for me to be sitting behind there for too long, but I was on a bit of a tear right here, so I couldn't stop. Yeah, there's a grenade lob right there, so you can see that's why you don't want to sit there too long. I think here I pick up a nice couple kills, and still have a couple chopper gunners to call in. I can't remember if I speed those up, but judging by the time left, I did, I think. Oh, and as you saw right there, that is basically why you don't want to sit there too long, because they're just gonna figure out that you're there and just lob grenades over. Now here I do speed up the chopper gunner, I think. Yeah, I speed it up 4 times just in theater mode, because the only ones that I won't record in theater mode are gun reviews, but here this isn't much to it, and I do end up getting quite a few challenges. But sorry guys, here I accidentally kept speeding it up by accident because I wasn't paying attention. I was also kind of talking to people in my party and that kind of thing, but all in good time. If you want to keep the game short. Now I won't ruin the score except right till the end, but it looks like we are coming to a close, so I'll start my little closing thing. But so if you like this video and you want to see more like this for other maps, if you want to see gun reviews like you may or may not have already seen on my channel, tips with Tickle, which by the way, Tickle My Funny is my gamer tag, haha, whatever, take it as you want it. But if you want to see videos like you see right now and like you've seen before, please subscribe, leave a comment, and like the video, and favorite the video if you'd like. Now for the game I went 75 kills, 3 deaths with 3 captures and 2 defends. I was level 47 13th prestige in this game, but this has been Tickle My Funny, and Tickle My Funny / Extreme Reload, and I am signing out.